The character I most relate to in an anime series or game, I'd have to personally say Vaughn from Final Fantasy XII. He's this upright kind of character who's got dreams, and he's really this outgoing guy, and he does whatever it takes to bring the thought across and do whatever it takes to make the world a better place. He puts himself in these dangerous situations just like mostly every single protagonist of any groundbreaking story does.
I don't know if there is a character out there who represents who I am. I'm always changing.
It'd have to be Utsumi from Good Ending. Me and him are like almost alike, exactly. Except not alike at the same time.
Yuna, because I know what it's like to go on a pilgrimage and have to summon Aeons and, you know, kill a massive monster and sacrifice myself. That's why I'm still here. It's a hard job. I can really relate to that. Sorry.
You know, there are always those characters, and the two that I highly relate with right now would have to be Saito Hiraga from the familiar Zero no Tsukaima, that whole franchise, and another one would be Yuji from Shakugan no Shana. And for a video game character, it would have to be the main character from Last Remnant, the main male character. I just can't, I can't remember his name, but I relate to him. So, oh man, that is so lame. I am so sorry that I cannot even remember his name. But yeah. Pretty sure some of you who are going to be listening to this know of me being in K-On! Abridged. But I can, like, a female character that I can relate to is Ritsu Tanaka from K-On! Just for being hyperactive and stupid. So, another female character would have to be Mio from Nichijou. That show.
The character that represents me a lot in this modern world is Renoa from Final Fantasy VIII, which I voice in my production.
I don't think that any of them really do. I don't see myself as a different person. I don't see myself as another persona, per se. Because I'm more interested in being myself.
I guess, I don't know, maybe Okami from Okami-san no Nakatachi. I can't say the name of it, but that, I don't know, not a bit. Maybe I'm the rude personality, and maybe that, but maybe Misaki from Maid-sama, I don't know, or both. Well, I remember there was this time when I used to, like, hide things from people, and so I guess I can kind of relate to her like that. And so, yeah. Maybe Sawako from Kimi ni Todoke. I don't know. I remember when I used to avoid people a lot and people really didn't talk to me. And they're like, that girl's a bitch. And yeah. I don't know.
That is a real tough one because anime and video game characters are often really extreme in some kind of aspect. And I don't know. I'm sort of a softie in life. And I actually find myself voice acting a lot of characters that are not like me. So anyway, to answer the question, I guess anime series definitely the Vegeta, but I don't know, I always kind of like had this sense of like bravado that he has. Like I always wish that people would notice, you know, my awesomeness or whatever, and so I kind of have that. I'm just not like obnoxious like he is. Like he goes around all the time saying he's the best. I don't want really hardcore Final Fantasy fans to come after me, but I didn't play Final Fantasy V, and I really like Bart's Clouser from that game, and I didn't play it though. The reason that I like Bart's is because my first gig on the voiceactingalliance.com website, where I do a lot of my little YouTube gigs and stuff, is it was voicing Bart's. It was in this series called Final Fantasy Still. So everybody should search that on YouTube because those guys do a really good job. They write stuff that, Square Enix should be jealous of, definitely. And anyway, they heard my voice for Laguna and were like, oh, that's definitely sounds more like Bart's, and it would be perfect. And so I sort of just fell into voicing that character. And so why I said that, I feel like I'm kind of like him or he's kind of like me is just because I don't know if he's really like this in Final Fantasy V in the game, but I know that in voicing him in this series, he sort of sometimes like gets down about himself or whatever and like asks for people to pick him up, and he is like a softie, as I said. I was kind of like, I don't know, he just like, he sort of has this vibe about him that's like, he's a friendly guy, relatively easygoing, but also, he just sort of has this like cheesy energy that he can sort of pick up on, and some of my lines sometimes sound ridiculous because it's just like, oh, what a rush! I don't know, so yeah, I would say that Bart's maybe kind of a loose tie to me.
I think that would be, it's either Nagisa or stalking. It's kind of a combination of both, because as far as stalking goes, I'm always eating sweets or junk. I have Dr. Pepper right here. I'm always eating sweets and soda and all that good stuff. And I'm like kind of crazy like stalking. Like, I know I don't seem like that right now. I'm kind of all shy on camera and everything, but if you were to ask my friends, I'm pretty crazy on Skype or stuff like that. I also like relate to Nagisa because I'm really shy at times, like really shy, and when I meet a new person, I'm like all quiet and I'm like hi, like Nagisa was at first when she first met Tomoya. And I guess I'm also like Nagisa because I like cute stuff like dongos and kitties, and I like to bake bread. That was a lie. I don't bake bread. I've never baked in my life. No, that was a lie too.
Off the top of my head, I wouldn't really no. I guess any character that's just kind of quiet yet can be out there with a bunch of friends and all that.
My favorite shows and Angel Beats and Higurashi. Yeah, just because they're emotions.
There's two characters. Soul from Soul Eater, because he generally doesn't care what anyone thinks about him. He's just doing his own thing, pretty much what I do. And that he may not show it, but he truly cares about people like Maka and all that, and he'll do anything to help them. And Kyon from Melancholy Fairy Suzumiya, because he's the different one in the group, human, and I'm in my friend group the different one. And yeah, pretty much, yeah, he's got the same things, cares too much for certain things, so yeah, and he just stresses a lot, basically like me. Any other character, nah, every other character is probably just way too cooler than me.
I reckon that Minori from Toradora actually suits me quite a lot, because a lot of people would call me crazy, and I prefer the term eccentric, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, we're both a bit wacky and happy-go-lucky and all that jazz. So yeah. Also, Kisa from Fruits Basket. She looks a lot like me, except she's too cute. That's what. She's so graceful and tiny and adorable and all that. Such a lolicon. And I'm not, so,
It's a tie, really, between Tomoya Okazaki from Clannad and Ryuji Takasu from Toradora. Because when I was a teenager, the thing is I always got pegged out as a typecast for being the troublemaker or the thug, and nobody really wanted to associate with me. And you sort of see that between Tomoya and Ryuji. But then when you get to know them, deep down, they're very gentle-hearted, they're laid back, and of course, they have their quirks. But then again, most humans do nowadays anyway, so in the end, you just sort of feel normal. And I honestly like the direction that Tomoya and Ryuji had, because they've had a deep history, we know, with their father, and I sort of have that history with my dad. I have always worried about him, wondering if I would ever become him. It's just that fear that most kids have, is never ever want to end up like their dad, even though most of the time they do. So sort of have that ill fate of like, oh god, I'm going to become my dad. So
when I was in high school, I was a fair amount like Squall, but I still had, compassionate tendencies. While at the same time, I was a little bit like Zell as well, from Final Fantasy VIII. However, I can say who I relate to, or who represents me the least. And that's many people I voice. I mean, I'm nothing like Sephiroth. I guess when Sephiroth as a hero was kind of like that, only without the godlike powers.
I don't really know exactly. Okay, I'll go with that. Parts of my personality. What represents my energetic side? Always happy, always happy-go-lucky, ecstatic about everything in life, and totally sarcastic and amazing, would be Tao Kaka from Blazin'. She is my absolute favorite character to play if I ever get the chance to play her. She's just so energetic and happy, and she's absolutely hilarious, and I love her. And I guess Midna from Legend of Zelda would represent my selfish, ulterior motive side, I guess you could say. And Princess Zelda would probably represent my personality as a whole. She's just so noble and only speaks whenever she has something important on her mind.
If I had to choose one and to be completely truthful and to be realistic, or realistically speaking, I guess I'd have to go with Yuji Sakai from Shana. Because like me, he's not the strongest fighter in the world, but, he still fights for the people he cares about, and he generally does try to protect.
Oh, this is a tricky one, really. I don't know, because I don't really watch stuff like that's just about normal people, like Oran High School Host Club, for example, like just people who go to school and get into funny situations or whatever. I don't really like stuff like that. I'm kind of more of like the fantasy, action-y sort of stuff. But I guess on that basis, Kurapika from Hunter x Hunter, just because I can imagine that if what happened to him happened to me, I could become that way. Like he's not like, he don't become like evil or anything, but like how such a nice person. Well, I think I'm nice anyway. Like nice enough, I guess. Like how a nice person can just get so dark and be prepared to take on and like even maybe kill like the people who are responsible for killing my family. I don't know. It's like a lot of people say that revenge is something that you shouldn't do, but I can imagine that if what happened to Kurapika happened to me, I'd be out for revenge as well. Any other characters? I suppose some stupid characters. I can be a bit stupid sometimes, a little bit over the top. So I guess Monkey D. Luffy, but he's a lot cooler than I am. Naruto, yeah. Just characters with a big heart, I guess. Characters that mean well, but can be a bit stupid sometimes.